What if the GPU world's biggest battle isn't just at the top, but right in the incredibly competitive mid-range? And what if a new contender is swinging some surprising punches, challenging Nvidia on its home turf? For a long time, all the hype around graphics cards focused on the flagship models, the fastest, most expensive beasts. But let's be honest, for most of us, the real action happens in the middle, where performance meets practicality and our wallets don't spontaneously combust. That's why we are really excited that AMD decided to launch their new Radeon RX 9070, a mid-range contender, before Nvidia's top-tier RTX 5090 rival. It signals a clear message. AMD is prioritizing mainstream PC gaming, and they are putting serious pressure on Nvidia to do the same for their mid-range lineup. The competition in this segment is fierce. The AMD Radeon RX 9070 enters the ring at a cool $549. Right there, matching it blow for blow, is Nvidia's GeForce RTX 5070 at the exact same price. For just $50 more, you could even grab a beefier Radeon RX 9070 XD, making a strong jab at Nvidia's RTX 5070 Ti. Now, let's talk performance. If you are one of those gamers who scrolls straight to the frame rates in a review, and many of us are guilty of that, the RX 9070 is going to catch you pleasantly off guard in certain scenarios. See, there are two sides to this performance coin. One side is raw, native frame rates without any AI trickery. The other is what happens after frame generation and upscaling kick in. Here's the surprising part. For 4K gaming with ray tracing switched off, the RX 9070 consistently hits higher average frame rates than the RTX 5070. We saw this clearly in Night City, where Cyberpunk 2077 ran around 55 frames per second on the AMD card, versus 48 FPS on the Nvidia offering. That's a 7-frame difference, and it gives you a crucial edge for smooth 4K gameplay without needing any artificial assistance. That trend continues in games like Hitman 3, where the RX 9070 soared past 130 frames per second, leaving the RTX 5070 behind. But of course, the story changes when ray tracing comes into play. Once you activate those stunning lighting effects, Nvidia's RTX 5070 starts to regain its footing, often pulling ahead. The gap isn't always massive, but Nvidia still holds an advantage when it comes to raw ray tracing performance. That advantage becomes even more significant when we talk about AI upscaling and frame generation. Nvidia's DLSS 4 uses what they call 4x multi-frame generation. AMD's FSR 4, on the other hand, is a x2 equivalent. Think of it like this. Nvidia is generating 3 extra frames for everyone, giving you an absurdly high frame rate boost. AMD is generating 1. For example, in Cyberpunk 2077, with full AI upscaling enabled, the RTX 5070 could churn out a monstrous 215 frames per second, while the RX 9070 topped out at around 92. This difference often sparks the debate about fake frames versus native performance in the PC gaming community. However, AMD plays a different card with something called fluid motion frames. You can enable this feature at a driver level across a much wider range of games, even those without native FSR 4 support. This offers a lifeline when your frame rates are struggling. Take Total War, Warhammer 3, an RTS game without built-in AI upscaling. The RX 9070's base performance sits around 68 frames per second, which already beats the RTX 5070's 58. But switch on fluid motion frames, and that average jumps to a whopping 140 FPS. Now, a word of caution. While this is fantastic for demanding, less latency-sensitive games, we would generally avoid it for anything competitive where every millisecond counts. You have AMD's anti-lag, similar to Nvidia Reflex, but your mileage will vary depending on the game. Beyond raw performance, the RX 9070 comes armed with 16 GB of GDDR6 VRAM, which is more than the RTX 5070's 12 GB of GDDR7. While GDDR7 is technically faster, the sheer volume of VRAM on the AMD card could be a benefit for future games that are hungry for memory. Design-wise, you won't find an AMD-branded reference card here, It's all about the third-party manufacturers like ASUS. Interestingly, AMD also sticks with the traditional two 8-pin power connectors instead of Nvidia's newer 12 VHPWR dongle, which for some users simplifies cable management. Ultimately, the AMD Radeon RX 9070 carves out a compelling niche. If you are looking for fantastic 4K performance, especially without ray tracing, and appreciate the flexibility of driver-level frame generation across many games, this card delivers. Yes, it falls short of the RTX 5070's massive ray tracing and top-tier AI frame generation boosts, but it punches above its weight on the native rasterization front. This GPU presents a real choice. Do you prioritize the highest possible frame rates with heavy AI generation? Or do you prefer strong native performance and broader frame rate boosts across your entire game library? Which philosophy aligns more with how you want a game? Let us know what you think. You can find us on your favorite social media platforms or leave a comment on our website. And of course, make sure you subscribe for more deep dives into the tech that truly matters.